Hey everyone, it's Zzoffer and I'm back with another video. So in this video we will be taking a look at these acrylic paints that were sent to me by Arteza. So thank you to Arteza for sending these paints to me. Also, this was a really long time ago. I'm not 100% sure how long, but it's almost a year I think, and I feel really bad because I kept putting off making this video and Arteza kept reaching out to me being like, hi, so how's the video going? And I would be like, oh, it's great, it's gonna be ready soon. Lies, all lies. But now we're finally doing it. Okay, so first half of this video was actually shot when I originally received them. So here we have me unpackaging this 24 set of Arteza acrylic paints. And as you can probably already see, that is a lot of different colors. So here is what the individual tubes look like. Pretty standard paint tubes, I guess. I mean, I feel like they're fancy because they're like aluminium or something, and I'm used to plastic ones, so I'm like, ooh, fancy. After that, I went on to swatch them all in my sketchbook, and here's what they look like. And now let's jump into it. So I sketched out my drawing on the canvas. You probably can't see it, it's very faint, but this is a sketch that I have in my sketchbook actually that I drew also quite a while ago. But it's a sketch that I really liked. I did not include a picture of it because I'm a stupid, but I will soon be doing a sketchbook tour, so you'll get to see it there, so look out for that one. So we're starting off with some nice blues and I guess just blues actually. And I'm trying to make this kind of gradient going from a dark blue to a light blue. And I have absolutely freaking no idea how to use acrylic paints. So this might be really cringy. If you know how to use acrylic paints, feel free to tell me in the comments that I'm doing it wrong, because I probably am. I've always found it really hard to work with acrylic paints. It feels like they're working against me rather than with me, and it's probably because I'm using them wrong and I should maybe learn how to do it, but it's not really something that I enjoy that much, so I haven't put a lot of effort into learning how to do it. I used to do a lot of acrylic painting actually, but I don't know, I don't think it's my thing, which is funny since I asked Arteza to send me acrylic paint. They wrote me a very nice email asking if I wanted to test out some more of their supplies, and I replied with, oh yes, send me some acrylic paint, please. So that was kind of stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. But you know, it's always nice to experiment with new things and try new mediums. I mean, maybe I would have loved it, and I would have never known if I didn't try it. So yeah, I guess I was just wanting to try out some acrylic painting once again. I probably started this painting back in January of this year because that's when it was cold and snowy outside, so I wanted to kind of draw that. Sometimes I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that I had this idea while I was walking home from school one day, because sometimes when I walk home from school I get these like feelings. It's really hard to describe, but it's like a feeling of a mood. And I can visualize it in my mind, kind of. And then I'm like, ooh, I want to go home and draw it. And it never really turns out to, like, convey the mood that I had, like, the mood that I wanted it to convey. But this one, I think, is, like, fairly close. So, yeah, it's hard to describe the mood. But it's kind of like a mellow, kind of, I don't know, serene, is that a good word for this? Maybe not. But kind of like a floating around in space and kind of feeling nothing in a way, kind of feeling. And then also with the cold and stuff. Probably doesn't make any sense, which I'm sorry about, you guys. I'm really bad at describing feelings, at like putting my thoughts into words. You probably noticed if you've been watching me for a while. Something I find, and I don't know if it's all acrylics or if it's specific to these acrylics, but that is that it's hard to get an opaque layer of paint, which I think is pretty normal, right? So you have to like kind of go over it a couple times before it gets opaque so that you can't see the paint underneath through it. So I had to go in and fill in the silhouette of this girl in white because I wanted the orange of, ooh, spoilers, there's gonna be orange on there, but I wanted the orange of her coat to really shine through, and I didn't want to have the blue shining through underneath the orange. But that took a couple coats to build up, and every coat has to dry, because if you try and put paint on top of a wet coat, it's gonna take the wet paint away and it's gonna make it worse. And that's another thing that I really don't like about acrylic painting, or painting in general, I guess, is the waiting for things to dry. It takes so long, and like when you're in the zone and you want to make art and you're like, great, art, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I have to wait for an hour for this to dry now. No, but I was in the zone. That's the worst. That's why I like mediums like alcohol-based markers, or I don't know, markers in general, or even digital, because there's no drying time. Or, well, for like if you do line art and then markers on top, you have to wait for the line art to dry. But you can get around that by doing the markers first and then the line art afterwards, which is what I like to do sometimes. So yeah, and also the drying time is a lot faster than it is for wet mediums like acrylics or watercolors. Ooh, now it's time for the fun part. So now I am drawing trees, and this is actually when the big time skip was. I did this yesterday. So I started the trees is where I picked it back up again. Yes, and I really like drawing like piney trees. I figured out that this brush that I have, it's kind of like a flat brush with an angle on it. I wish I would have shown you, but it's a really nice brush and I really like it, and I found that it was actually really good for making these pine trees. I actually kind of want to make more art like this. I mean, this is like really simple kind of cop-out composition and environment, but I've been doing a lot of perspective and environment stuff for our project. So I kind of want to do some more full scene artwork where I have like a background and a nice composition and nice rendering and stuff like that. So I hope that you guys want to see some of that. Maybe I could potentially even record one of the things that I do for our project and show you guys some of that if you want to see it. Let me know actually if you would be interested in that. I'll talk to my director and see if I can have permission to post some of my work, because we do have like a, ooh, don't post stuff before it's been officially posted kind of policy about the work that we do. Also, great time for a plug. If you haven't already, you should totally go to Instagram and follow our production Instagram so that you can see what we're working on and updates and stuff like that. You can either go to my Instagram and find a post in which I have linked it, or you can look, I'm going to put it in the description what it is. It's Riot5 Film. So you should totally follow that, and you should also totally follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Okay, plug over. I chose to color her scarf in this light purple, and I'm not really sure that I love it, but I didn't really know what else to do, and the original sketch has this light purple scarf as well. So I'm like, I'm not sure I like it, but also I can't really imagine it any other way now. That's just kind of what it is by this point. Ooh, also, by the way, I am currently turning this character into a stop motion puppet, which is a lot of fun. If you want to see something about that, actually, let me know and maybe I'll do a video about that. But yeah, I've just been sewing the orange duffel jacket for a long time now, which was a lot of fun, but also a lot of work. Ooh, okay, so now I finished all of the flat colors and I felt like it needed some line art. So I went and grabbed some of my paint markers, and now I'm using those to do some lines on top. I thought that I would use more different colors, but I ended up just going with the black. And I'm kind of sad because this is like a really thick black marker, because they didn't have any skinny black paint markers. And it didn't really work the best, I think, with this illustration. I'm not in love with the way that her face and the whole line art situation turned out. I'm kind of sad about it. The one in my sketchbook has that, you know, sometimes I use like a really skinny fine liner and I do kind of like scribbly line art. And I really wanted to do that on the canvas too, but I just couldn't really with the tools I had available to me, sadly. But hey, it is what it is, right? So now I am adding some snow to the drawing, and I'm trying to make sure to make the ones that are going in front of the girl and the trees that are closest to the camera, make those a bit bigger, and then make the ones that are further off in the background a bit smaller, so that we have like a perspective depth of field thing going on, I guess. Is depth of field the right word for this, or is that about blurriness? I think it's about focus and blur. Anyway, I did some snow on here, and I think that it tied it all together and made it look really cute. So here we have it, the finished painting. Haha! Let me just say another thank you to Arteza for sending me the paints that I used in this video. And yeah, that's about it. I like the way that it turned out. I'm not 100% super satisfied with it. Whoops. But you know, sometimes that's okay too. Ooh, and also, here are my artist hands. Ooh, such much wow. It's been a while since we had artist hands, but they're back. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I will see you guys later.